Morning. So we're out wheeling again. A better day than the last time. So what we're going to do, we're going to do a comparison. We've got the Swaybar off, the front Swaybar's off at the moment. We're going to do a bit of wheeling. We're going to try and articulate it to its maximum. Measure the up travel, measure the down travel on the shock shaft, and then find a spot where I do pick a wheel up. I'm going to then park up, put the Swaybar back on, and reattempt the same line on the particular obstacle that I'm thinking of, get a measurement, and then basically come to the conclusion of how much the Swaybar on my vehicle limits any up or down travel. I have had a lot of suspension questions on my channel and on Facebook. We have run 2 or 3 different types of suspension setups. This particular one, it's a 3-inch EFS spring with the superior arms and a 10-inch Fox shock. I have to say these tyres have changed the way the truck performs off-road. They are just such a different tyre to the Razor or the KM3 that I've run in the past. They just seem to cushion over all the rocks. The dirt roads at the moment at 18 pound, they just feel like they're floating across. So I didn't spend a lot of time with the coils underneath before I put the tyres on, but I think those 3-inch EFS coils up front have done wonders for the comfort. This is a good one to have a spotter for normally. You put your driver's wheel up basically in the center of that rock, and you potentially could take out that tree. Hopefully we miss it with the body. But what this one does, when you're up here, you're at full flex, so you basically, your front right is way down there. So this will be the one that I use to do the measurements, full droop and full up. Then we'll go around again and I'll put the Swaybar on and I'll do it again. So this is going to be the perfect place to give the best example of the difference with and without the Swaybar. I believe we have liftoff, do we? Ooh, almost. Let's have a measurement. Because I know at 250 it picks up. It's pretty close. Yeah, so we're at 250 there. That's full down. That shock can't come out anymore. If I undid the shock, potentially I'd get a bit more down. I'm not sure, but then I've got these things to worry about. They're right on the limit. The coil's just starting to move, but because this is a 3-inch one, even my bump stop there, it's really not doing anything because it's still sitting in the seat at the bottom just. So what we'll have a look at is the other side. I've got about 20 mil of shaft showing, 20-30 mil of shaft, and my 2 bump stops, so the genuine one and my one, are both squashed up against each other. So that's limiting the shock from squashing. That was my point when I put them in, was to hold the coil in at full stretch. With the smaller coil it worked. With these ones probably could have got away without it. But I need it to limit the up travel, because what's going to happen then, I'm going to start eating up guards. If I was turned a bit more, I'm really close everywhere, but still just missing. I'm touching the tower, so that'll just sort of scrape. I don't feel that that's going to damage the tyre. But what we'll do is we'll drive off this again and then go and put the Swaybar on. Check out that tyre bagging at 18 pound. It's even creasing while not burping air out of that bead. So that's 18 pound. I potentially could go lower, but I feel like if I was probably another 6 or 8 pound lower here, I'd be leaking a bit of air. that could be full flex down. Grab me tape measure. The full 250 down travel on the driver's side. Here's a little work platform I've made up to get this Swaybar on. For those of you that haven't mucked around with them, I'm sure the majority of people have. They're so easy to put on if your truck is flat level. Two 14mm spanners, a 12mm socket, and a couple of cable ties. I'll show you how easy this is. I haven't worked out a simple way for a disconnect that's not going to be noisy when it's off-road. So with these arms, the superior arms come with the new Swaybar bracket at the front, and then the back ones, they bolt up to that bracket there. These do wear out. These rubbers on which holds the bar, they actually do wear out. Sit it in position in those front brackets. They'll just slip in. Make sure your collars are in there. They do come out once that bush is worn. So that one's in. If there's anyone out there that knows of a disconnect system for a 3-inch, I'd love to know about it. That's in its house, and so's that one. So that goes up to that now. So that rotates. Just a matter of lining it up left to right. Finger tight again. And then we tighten up the 14. I love working on this car, you know, like even changing the oil, it's so easy. There's your sun plug, there's your filter. With the Swaybar off, it's like 1,000 times easier, but even so, it's still an easy truck to get to. You don't have to remove anything to get to your oil, your drain plug or your filter. All done, 12 minutes. And if you're wondering what the cable tie was for, it's just to hold the ABS line. So let's go back and hit that rock. It instantly felt stiffer. Clearly off the ground. I don't think I got as far here, so this will tell us the truth. Yeah, it's definitely nowhere near as far down, is it? Out comes the tape. So it's definitely off the ground. So that's 210. So we've lost, and that's off the ground. So I've lost 40mm of down travel with that Swaybar hooked up. So there's your answer. It's still good travel. It just, if I was gonna do a heavy duty, you know, club run, I would definitely be taking that Swaybar off. As far as the up travel I haven't lost as much. I've probably lost 15mm of up travel. So the bar's doing a lot of work. 40mm, it's almost 2 inches on down travel. The up travel isn't limited as much. So 50mm we've lost. So I forgot about this part. So what was it? 50mm down travel we lost. So what's going to happen in this situation? It was all right coming up. Generally, I don't mind cocking a leg coming up. When we're coming down and we lose that 50mm of travel, so my front axle is going to be around here. So what's going to happen here? It's going to drop away. Now I've lost 50mm of suspension travel, so the wheel will pick up. And what will happen is it'll start to fall and it'll pick that back left up. So it'll probably happen in this first hole, but then what I've got to do is go further down another 20 centimeters. So I'm expecting this axle here to be doing that with that wheel off the ground, the weight of the car putting it on the ground, picking that back wheel up. So that's where you may have thought earlier about, okay, it's only 50mm, you don't really need it. I in my Hilux, I have a lot more travel in the front of my car than I do in the rear in the Hilux, in the comp truck. And even in the Cruiser, I don't mind going up stuff. I don't mind cocking a leg and it coming back down. It's when you're going down stuff and the back starts to want to pass you, you've got to sort of throw the momentum into it to continue the drive. But that's where, with that front end, that 50mm would have come in handy here, because that back wheel would have stayed down for 50mm longer, if you know what I mean. So we'll attempt to come down this. It shouldn't be a problem, but it won't be as comfortable or look as good with the Swaybar on as it would have with it off. So it's up by 100mm, but with the Swaybar off, I reckon that I would have soaked that up a bit more. So there's your difference. Still capable, still safe, just not as pretty. That'll conclude this little comparison video. Swaybar on, Swaybar off. There's enough in it to take it off, in my opinion. But if it's just a weekend warrior or a tourer, then you set up your arms and your coils right with the right length shock and it can stay on. So the upcoming videos we have with the 79 is going to be the big trip we do down to Phil's place, Phil's farm, creek crossings, taking the treps down, steep hills, towing the van, sharp corners, deep water crossings. Even with a full-size 35, so these are just that little bit bigger than a 315/75/16 that I was running. The gearing in low range in this 79, it's still pretty amazing. Climbing ability is pretty good, and it doesn't run away when you're coming down stuff. The tyres sat on $1.10 for probably 3 hours, and they've handled really well. So we needed to go and get the kids' motorbikes and my quad from up Paul's place. We decided to take the 79 up on the treps, do a few more Ks, see what it felt like, over a longer period than just what we've been doing. So, it's a 3-hour drive sitting on $1.10. Thought while we were up here, we'd visit the beaches, see what the treps were like on the sand. But unfortunately, because of the weather that they had up here, the floods, both Samurai and Stockton were both closed. So we didn't get to test the treps on the sand this trip. But we will do in the future. So we loaded the bikes on in Paul's yard, and back to Sydney it was to get ready for the upcoming trip. Please stay tuned for the upcoming series, and as always, thanks for watching.